Before we begin today's lesson, let's think back to last week's investigation 1.2, designing an isopod environment. Remember, we tested what moisture conditions isopods preferred by setting up our soil with different amounts of water. We tested what light conditions isopods prefer by placing a dark area made of construction paper. After you watch today's lesson video, you'll be asked to answer these questions in today's Pear Deck activity. Use your science notebook to help you. Hopefully your brain is remembering our moisture and light condition investigations from last week. While you're remembering that, let's begin our next investigation, leaf litter critters. Before we begin, let's set up our science notebooks. Make sure to add today's date, September 21st, 2020, and the title of this week's investigation to your table of contents. We will start our new investigation on the next clean page in your science notebook. For me, that's on page 13. Don't forget to put it in your table of contents. Make sure to put your title and page number for this week's investigation on the next clean page in your science notebook. Pause the video to make your science notebook look like mine. With your parents' permission, you will be searching for small animals that lived in the ground litter environment. Ground litter is not litter or trash you find on the ground. Ground litter is the natural accumulation of dead leaves and twigs on the ground near and under plants. So here are like a bunch of leaves and twigs and all the things that you would find near a plant, like a tree. The purpose of our leaf litter scavenger hunt is to answer this focus question. What are the characteristics of animals living in the leaf litter or ground litter environment? Please pause this video and add our focus question to your investigation 1.3 leaf litter critters page in your science notebook. Please do so now. The materials you will need for today's ground litter scavenger hunt are a plastic container, a spoon, and an optional plastic bag. You guys are professional entomologists or scientists who study insects after completing last week's insect scavenger hunt. So I know you will have no problem completing today's. Step number 1 is to find ground litter. Here are some examples of ground litter that I was able to find. Next to a tree. Here's a bunch of leaves and twigs and a bunch of other fun stuff. Right here, it's actually where I ended up collecting from. And a bunch of ground litter right here on the sidewalk of a jogging path. Remember, our focus question is to find out what are the characteristics of animals living in the ground litter environment. So make sure you find some animals when you collect ground litter. I know the first time I collected ground litter, I didn't observe any animals. So here's a video from the second time I collected ground litter. Use what we learned about the moisture and light conditions our isopods preferred to help you when choosing a place to collect ground litter. Lots of small animals prefer the same environmental factors that our isopods did. All right, let's take a look at how it went whenever I collected some of our animals from the leaf litter. You're going to want to use your plastic container and your spoon to collect some of the leaf litter and hopefully some small animals as well. Just found a small insect. Found a couple more. See all this on the ground litter. The leaves, the twigs. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I had seen ants, I'd seen isopods. Saw a couple of beetles. Beetles didn't make it into my container. I'll get them next time. I only got a couple of ants. So as you can see, All right, now that you've completed step 2, collecting ground litter, let's move to step 3, observe the collection. If we were back at school, we would actually go outside and collect ground litter as a class. It would be much easier because we'd be able to use the mesh screens we have to sort small animals from our leaf litter. And we'd be able to use our hand lenses to get a better look. However, just do your best to collect animals living under ground litter. Once you're done observing your collection, you can return the animals back to where you found them. Just remember what you saw, because you will draw the animals in today's Pear Deck activity. So here I use the container. Don't forget, you can also use a plastic bag if you want to collect as much of the ground litter as possible and then sort through and trying to find your small animals after that. So that's why the plastic bag is optional, but as you can see, I just used the plastic container. All right, now before I let you go to complete your scavenger hunt, let's review our safety rule from last week's scavenger hunt. If you don't know what it is, or if it looks unsafe, do not pick it up. So you'll explore ground litter for about 10 minutes today. Then you'll complete our Pear Deck activity. Have fun and be safe on your ground litter scavenger hunt, Amazing Ospreys.